I, Professor Satish Jondale. I am going to talk today on electromagnetics. Electromagnetics is a subject under third year Electronics and Telecommunication program for the semester 1. As usual, the structure of this subject is lectures are there 4 lectures per week. Tutorial is 1 hour tutorial per week per batch. The examination pattern is as usual. In semester examination is for 30 marks and end semester examination is for 70 marks. Let me introduce the objectives, career course objectives of this subject as given by the SPPU Pune. To introduce the basic mathematical concepts related to electromagnetic field vectors, to impart knowledge on the concepts of electrostatics, magnetostatics and time varying fields. Third objective is to impart the knowledge on magnetic flux density, electric flux density, etc. To impart the knowledge of fundamental laws of electrostatics, magnetostatics, that are Faraday's law, Coulomb's law, Ampere-Circuital law and Biot-Savart law. To impart the knowledge on the concepts of electromagnetic waves and transmission lines. So, the syllabus consists of electrostatic fundamentals, magnetostatic fundamentals, time varying fundamentals as well as transmission line fundamentals. In Unit 1, Electrostatics 1, the concepts that are to be covered are sources and effects of electromagnetic fields. We need to cover the Coulomb's law, Gauss law. These are the 2 fundamental laws of electrostatics, as well as we need to cover the electric potential, electric flux density as well as electric field intensity concepts. If we closely look at the syllabus, we will find the first 2 units are devoted to electrostatics. Unit number 3 is devoted to magnetostatics. Unit number 4 is devoted to time varying fields, and unit number 5 is devoted to transmission line theory. Apart from this, unit number 6 explains what exactly the uniform plane waves are. The textbooks or reference books for this particular course I will suggest are Principles of Electromagnetics by M.N.O. Sadiku. M stands for Matthew. The publisher is Oxford University Press, and the second reference book I will suggest is Engineering Electromagnetics by William Haight. It is also a very popular book. Publisher is Tata McGraw-Hill. So let me first of all tell you what are the applications of electromagnetics. Why should we study this electromagnetics course? Why it is included in the curriculum? The applications, the major applications of electromagnetics are in almost 99% electrical devices such as motors, generators, electromechanical solenoids, relays, loudspeakers, hard disk, MRI, scientific instruments, magnetic separation instruments, as well as the most popular application which we come in daily contact with is Xerox machine. So, looking at these applications, we get a feel why electromagnetic course is introduced in our curriculum. So let us take a review of the whole syllabus. In electrostatics, we need to concentrate more upon 2 fundamental laws, Coulomb's law and Faraday's Gauss law. Based on these two fundamental laws, we are going to study how these laws can be applied to various situations. For example, we want to measure a field intensity, electric field intensity at a particular point in space due to some electric source. Then how we can utilize this Coulomb's law and Gauss law, that we are going to study. So in electrostatics part, unit number 1 and 2, we are going to apply the fundamentals of Gauss law and Coulomb's law in order to find out electric field intensity, electric flux density, electric potential, and so on. This one may ask the question, what exactly these parameters are? These parameters are nothing but the strength of the generated electric field. Now the next question may get arised, who generates this electric field? Obviously, electric field source, that is electric charge. Electric charge is responsible to generate electric field around it. Using this electric field, as earlier mentioned, various electric applications runs. Electric charge, if we go more fundamentally, electric charge is nothing but electrons and holes. Electrons carries negative charge and holes carries positive charge. If this electric charge can be of 1 coulomb, 2 coulomb, minus 50 coulomb, 1 microcoulomb, 100 picocoulomb, depending upon the capacity. Higher the electric charge, higher the magnitude of electric charge, more strong the field generated is. So, in unit number 1 and unit number 2, you need to remember the fundamental laws are Coulomb's law and Gauss law. So, applications of these two we are going to cover in unit number 1 and unit number 2 of this course, electromagnetics. Unit number 3 is, as earlier mentioned, is devoted for magnetostatics. The students are requested to remember, wherever this word magnetostatic comes, we need to recall or memorize two fundamental laws. These two laws are Biot-Savart law and Ampere-Circuital law. These two laws are important to understand the fundamentals of magnetostatics. As like unit number 1, 2, here also in unit number 3, we are going to learn the fundamentals of these two laws. After learning these fundamentals, we are going to apply this knowledge of these two laws to various situations. For example, using these two laws, we will find out what is the strength of the generated magnetic field at a particular point. What is the magnetic field density at a particular point in the space? What is magnetic potential? So, all these parameters which represent the strength of magnetic field, we are going to find out or compute or determine using these two fundamental laws. Which are those two laws? Biot-Savart law and Ampere-Circuital law. So if we compare unit number 1, 2 with unit number 3, we can find electrostatic field is generated by electric charge, static electric charge. In magnetostatic field, the magnetic field is generated by magnetic charge. In 12th we studied north pole, south pole of magnet. These are nothing but magnetic charges. And we have also experienced when two charges, magnetic charges, north pole, if we uh, keep in two hands, then we will find that these two north pole charge and north pole charge, they will they will repel each other, because these two are the like charges. If one north charge is there, north pole of magnet and south pole of magnet, if we keep in our two hands, then they will attract each other, because these are unlike charges. So here the one very important thing to note is that if these two charges, even though these two charges are apart by a distance, let us understand, means this distance between these two charges is maybe 10 centimeter, 20 centimeter or 1 meter. If even though these two charges are apart from each other, then also these two charges either attract each other or repel each other, depending upon the type of polarities. So very important thing to note in this case is there is no connection, physical connection between these two charges, this north magnetic charge and south magnetic charge. There is no physical connection between these two. There is a space in between these two. Then also they attract or repel. That means there must be some field created in between these two. Now the next question is, who created this field, particular field? Obviously this charge and this charge. These two charges created a field around them, and due to the interaction of these fields, they are able to attract or repel each other. So this is regarding unit number 3, magnetostatics. Remember, this in magnetostatics, two fundamental laws are there: Biot-Savart law and Ampere-Circuital law. I also need to mention here why these names are given: Biot-Savart, Ampere, Coulomb, Gauss. Basically these are the names of scientists who discovered these laws. In the honor of this scientist, those laws were recognized worldwide by their names. For example, Coulomb was scientist and he identified the concept of electric field, electrostatic field, and he identified how to apply these fundamentals to find out the intensity or the strength of that particular field. That is why in the honor of that scientist, this law is named as Coulomb's law. Similarly, Gauss law is also name given to the discovery by the Gauss in his honor. Unit number 5 and 6, unit number 4. Unit number 4 is electrodynamic fields. In this particular unit, we are going to study what happens when electric charge and magnetic charge are not at rest. So one may ask the question whether the charge was moving or static in unit number 1, 2 and 3. I explain. Unit number 1 name is electrostatics. The name itself indicates electro plus statics. Statics means at rest, stable, constant. Electrostatics. So electro means electric charge and static means it is at rest. It is constant, it is not moving, it is constant at one place. That means if the electric charge is at rest at one position permanently, then the field created by such a charge, static charge, around it is called as electrostatic charge. Similarly, if magnetic charge is at rest, magnetic charge is not moving anywhere, then the field created by that charge is called as magnetostatic charge. And the corresponding fundamentals are Biot-Savart law, Ampere-Circuital law as I earlier mentioned. But the question may get arised if the electric charge and the magnetic charge are not static, they are moving somewhere around. What happens? Whether the fundamentals of electrostatic laws, magnetostatics laws are applicable in such situation as it is? No. This is what found out or determined by Faraday, one scientist, as well as Maxwell, James Maxwell. These two scientists discovered that if the charges are not static, they are moving, then the fundamental laws which we studied previously are not applicable as it is. In other words, these fundamental laws are to be modified for the changing situation. The change in the situation is previously the charge was at rest, electric charge was not moving anywhere, it was at rest. That is why the field created by that charge was electrostatic field, and magnetic charge was also at rest. That is why the field created by magnetic charge, static magnetic charge, was also stable at one position. In unit number 4, we are going to study the time varying fields. Time varying field means the fields created by the motion of electric charge and magnetic charge. That is why a different name is given to such fields. The names given to such fields is time varying field. The fundamental, again in this time varying fields, two fundamental laws are Faraday's laws and Poynting theorem and Maxwell's equations. Now let us take a review of comparison of these three kinds of fields. The first category of field we studied is electrostatic field. Who created it? Static electric charge. Okay. Second kind of field in this course we are going to study is magnetostatic field. Who created it? Static magnetic charge. And third kind of field which we are going to study in this course is time varying field. It is also called as electrodynamic field. Who created it? It is again created by electric charge and magnetic charge, but the difference is now the electric and magnetic charge are not static, they are moving, and that is why the field created is also different than electrostatic field and magnetostatic field. That is why one separate unit is devoted to time varying field. Unit number 5 is devoted to transmission lines. Now I need to explain what exactly the significance of transmission line. Transmission lines are nothing but, in simple words, these are wires. Wires can be twisted pair cable, parallel wires which we find on the road for transmission of electric power, electric signals to our field agriculture as well as homes. There are coaxial cables which we find in television sets as well as laboratories to connect function generator with the CRO. All these are nothing but transmission lines. So there is an importance of transmission line, but we directly or indirectly use these transmission lines. All people uses these transmission lines, but most of them do not know the fundamentals of transmission lines. That means they do not know if some problem arises in transmission line, how to troubleshoot that problem, how to solve this problem. What are the fundamental laws that covers the transmission lines? So the fundamentals of transmission line contains line parameters, skin effect, some other parameters like wavelength, velocity of propagation. Transmission line suffers with distortions as well as reflections. Whenever signal flows through, gets transmitted through transmission line, it may get reflected at the load end, or it may get distorted. Distorted means attenuated over the passage of time, over the length of time. So all these fundamentals we are going to study in unit number 5, transmission lines. So we will study the issues of reflections, attenuation in this unit, and we will also cover how to resolve these issues of reflections and distortions with the help of some techniques. At the end of this unit number 5, we are going to study the mathematical tool to find out the solution for such problems. That mathematical tool is nothing but Smith chart. Again, I mention here, it is a chart which was developed, discovered as well as verified by a scientist, Smith. That is why, in the honor of this scientist, this particular mathematical chart is called as Smith chart. It is useful to find out the problems in transmission lines. Means, for example, transmission line is of 1 kilometer, and at the source end, if the signal is transmitted and receiver is not able to detect that signal, then where exactly the problem is, whether the problem is at 100 meters location or 200 meter location or some other location. So exactly where the problem is, fault is, that can be found out with the help of Smith chart, provided that some input parameters or some assumptions are given. And the last, unit number 6 is uniform plane waves. Here we are going to study how the electromagnetic signal propagates in the space. Here I need to explain you what exactly this electromagnetic signal is. Electromagnetic signal contains electric part as well as magnetic part. Whatever we talk on mobile phones, that is a part of electromagnetic communication. That means whenever we speak, that time our voice signal is converted into electromagnetic signal, and then it is transmitted through the space to the antennas or the receivers. So this uniform plane waves we are going to study in this unit number 6, which contains the fundamentals of Maxwell's equation, electromagnetic wave equations, relationship between electric field intensity and magnetic field intensity, depth of penetration, as well as polarization and reflections. So this is all about the review of unit number 1, introduction of our course electromagnetics. Again, let us take a recap of what we discussed in this introductory part. We discussed that this electromagnetic course has exam pattern of 30 marks for in semester, 70 marks for end semester. 4 lectures are there per week, as well as one tutorial of 1 hour is 1 hour tutorial is there per week per batch. Unit number 1 and 2 is dedicated to electrostatic fields, electrostatic laws. Unit number 3 is dedicated for magnetostatic fields, magnetostatic laws. Unit number 4 is devoted for time varying fields and their concerned laws. Unit number 5 and 6 are respectively the transmission lines and uniform plane waves. And the important reference books to study this particular course is Principles of Electromagnetics by Matthew Sadiku by Oxford University Press, and the second reference book is Engineering Electromagnetics by William Head and John A. Buck. The publisher is Tata McGraw-Hill. Thank you.